Okay, good morning, everyone. Before we start today's topic, let's recite the verse for beginning the sutra together. Please join palms. The unsurpassed, profound, and sublime Dharma is difficult to encounter even in a billion aeons. Today we see, hear, receive, and uphold it, vowing to fathom the true meaning of the Tathagata. Okay, great. This morning, this is a very good verse. And every time we study Dharma or listen to the Dharma, this morning, Lily just told me, she spent 3 months in Philippines. And then she cannot hear her Dharma there. So she came back and just feel like it's so precious that, we have Dharma talk here, we have meditation program here. So it's the same mindset for every one of us that, we are in America and then we can hear the Dharma originally from India and pass to China, Korean, Japan, all over the place, and finally get to America, and we still can hear and receive and uphold it. So it's actually our good karma that we have this chance. And I also appreciate to become a monastic and also study thoroughly so that I can share Dharma with you. Otherwise, I just pass it and just read it, and I won't examine the Dharma that great deal. And today, I will continue the 15 demonic state out of the 5 aggregates or 5 skandhas. And actually, this part of Śurangama Sutra is very hard to talk about, and let alone that my practice is not that high. And I only can just in the sutra and among different sutra and try to relate the content and explain to myself and explain to you too. And so here we finished, actually we come here, here first. The 5 skandhas that throughout the Śurangama Sutra, Buddha talked about the true mind, the illusory mind, and then also what is our Buddha nature, and then provide 25 methods to achieve this enlightenment, and then also what is the wrong view or mistake we were made, and then also then provide for all of us. We have a very strong karma from the past. We are accumulating new karma in this life. So Buddha say, sincerely remind us, we have to, if we want to practice to achieve enlightenment, we have to start, from what we are right now, okay? So in this life, first we have to stop building up more karma, and then next, let's try to cleanse the past karma, and then use the method to overcome the tendency, because overcome the karma or habitual tendency is really hard because it has become our habit for many, many, many lives, not just years. So sometimes we need the power from, for example, the mantra. Okay, so this sutra provides Śurangama mantra, so we can, recite the mantra to establish our concentration or samadhi power, and then we applied any of the method mentioned in this sutra to deepen our contemplation. and finally, eventually, we can get to the final destination. And then the last part, Ananda asked, since what Buddha taught is so high, so broad, and we are not really truly confirmed that we understand. Okay, so we will use our own interpretation, most of the time, wrong interpretation, to explain the Dharma or explain our own experience from practice. So this part become very important for the Dharma ending age, for those of you who may not have chance to encounter a good experienced teacher, or our teacher has passed away and we have to practice alone, or with different levels of teacher. So even teachers has their own difficulties or obstacles or things that they need to transcend. So that we need to, it's better that we have a clear roadmap, or the guideline that we can follow, and so that we won't distract and fall into the wrong view for very, very long time. Okay, so I have finished what would happen when we try to transcend the form aggregates, and related to the 5 turbidity is the time turbidity. When the time comes, space exists as well. And the second is how when we try to overcome the sensation, okay, or sensual perceptions, then we are trying to overcome the turbidity of perception. And then last talk, we talk about what happened when we try to overcome the so-called conceptual perception or cognition, and how to overcome the turbidity of afflictions. We specifically mentioned about a lot of spirits or demons, the demons that will truly possess us or control us, or control the people close to you. For example, that he might influence your teacher or influence your friends and give you a wrong direction or instructions. So that's is very we need to be aware of, and for these 3, overcome the form aggregates, sensual perceptions, and conceptual perception. Those 3 are already very, very difficult. It's very high already. Okay. Sometimes even the first to overcome the form aggregate is already, it's already very high for most of us. So now we are we are going to talk about the next level. Before that, let's recap a little bit about what happened for this conceptual perception aggregate. And here is the end of that part, is if we practice and reach the end of the cognition aggregates, the conception aggregates, so the sutra says that the thought stop arising. You don't have wandering thought or all kinds of thought, just, you're luminous. So all superfluous cognition dissipate. Then his mind of awareness cease to be defiled. It's pure and clear. So he is completely clear about the start and the end of this life cycle. He then sees the cognition aggregate and will now be able to transcend the turbidity of afflictions. So when we contemplate, the source of cognition aggregate, its basis lies in the intermingling of deluded thinking, which come from faculty, objects, consciousness in contact. Okay, so that's what we talk about here. If we want to overcome the turbidity of afflictions, we have to overcome the sixth consciousness. The mind is talking about the sixth consciousness now to grasp the form, the six objects. Okay, so here I list out each turbidity, how the mind part grasp the form part. Okay, and it become a new type of view or perceptions. For example, mind is mind, form is form, right? And mind and form are two things. Form has no sensation. But when the mind intermingle with the form and it become a new type of grasping or attachment, and that's called turbidity. Okay, so when the sixth consciousness, the mind, grasped, intermingle, or think that the six objects are real, this kind of intermingling, and it generates the so-called affliction turbidity. We generate all kinds of afflictions because our mind thinks that the six objects are real, and we make judgment. We want it, we want them, or we don't want them. We have craving and hatreds, and all that mingle together, it become another realm, so-called the turbidity of afflictions. So here, when we overcome, okay, reach the end of the cognition aggregate, that person, okay, they don't have, their ordinary dreaming and thinking will extinguish. And it's always the same, whether waking or sleeping. So that's a guideline you check. If you think that you have already overcome the cognition aggregate, you overcome the turbidity of afflictions, check yourself. Do you have dreaming in the night? Do you have a lot of thought in the day, non-necessary thought? You sit here, nothing happened, then you still have thought. But first of all, you need to have a very deep samadhi in order to observe. Some people say, I don't have wandering thought. Most of the time is because your mind is so dual that you are not aware of it. It's not like you really stop your thought. It's like your mind is so dual, not deep and clear enough to see you actually have thought. But now we are talking about here is really because when you are at the third levels of contemplation, your mind is already very deep, and then you don't have daydreaming, night dreaming, you don't have thought in the day and in the night, and that condition remains the same even though you fall asleep. For most of us, even though you you have control during the day when you are awake, but once you fall asleep, it's out of your control, right? In a dream, you don't even know that you are in the dream, and you cannot control. You get angry in the dream, or get craving in the dream. So it's not what it is. Here is when you reach the end of the cognition aggregate, this is the first that you will observe. And then the luminous awareness is void and quiet. Okay, just like a clear sky. There is no more so-called cross, dusty thought arise. What does that mean? The Sutra, especially Śurangama Sutra, use dust to relate it to the object. Okay, because the dust come and go, right? And then your dusty thought is our mind sees something, and you grasp it, and it becomes dusty thought. Okay, so but your clear mind, your mind is so void and quiet that you won't generate thought to react to what you see or what you hear, what your sixth faculty encounter. So that means when you observe this world, okay, with this void and quiet awareness, this world, whatever happened around you, your mind is like a mirror, reflecting the light. Okay, so you know mirror, right? When the light comes, and it reflects. So when the light comes in, there is no attachment. It's not like, okay, this is mirror, I keep 20% of the light. No attachment. You come, I fully reflect. And when the light gone, no trace. But for our mind, it's not, right? The good thing come, you attach. And when that thing have to go, it leave a trace in your mind. So next time when you see it, it's still wanted. When that person hurt you, it comes, you hate it, you also attach to it. That's why you hate it. You don't want it, actually you attach to it. And when that scenario passed, it leaves trace in your mind. But when we overcome the so-called perception aggregate, cognition aggregates, your mind become void and quiet. The thing, the object come, you don't attach to it, and when it go, no trace in your mind, the void and quiet mind, okay? So it's like a clear sky and then functioned like a mirror. And then, so you illusively receiving and reacting, and he has done away with his long cherished habitual karma. So when that happened, you don't, your karma, you know, your old karma does not function at all. Why we will grasp, attach to things, and why the things we perceive will leave a trace. It's because the seeds in our conscious mind, the karmic seeds that resonate with it. Okay, so that's why you grasp it, and also you leave a trace, leave another new modified seeds in it. You put it back with modified seeds. So now is the old karma, the old habit will not interfere your mind right now, okay? And only the true essence of consciousness remain. That's last talk, you know, the end of cognition aggregate. It's very hard, right? And today, so if you remember in the chapter 3, I talk about this diagram, you know, when Buddha talk about seeing, you know, seeing the essence of visual awareness or the nature of visual awareness and object perceived. This is a diagram, and Buddha keep talking about it. You know, when we perceive object, you know, my eye, an object, it's not your eye see that object. It's the essence of your visual awareness that see the object. So Buddha keep talking about, it's not your eyes, okay? It's your essence of visual awareness that perceive this object. Okay, so this is the objective part and subjective part of seeing, okay? The problem is the essence of visual awareness is not your true nature. It's already very high if you can really remain your essence of visual awareness. So here, what we're talking about, the essence of visual awareness, is actually is related to the seventh consciousness. But it's not, you are not seeing your true nature yet, because you have to let go or transcend this essence of visual awareness, actually to see the non-dual part of awareness. Non-dual awareness is called the nature of visual awareness, and this is mainly referred to the eighth consciousness. And so, the essence of visual awareness is actually the second moon. Okay, when the eye, the essence of visual awareness, not the eye faculty. Okay, it's the essence of visual awareness see the moon. Actually, what we see, the image we see, is the third moon. It's a reflection in the essence of visual awareness. And what is the first moon? Once we see the nature of visual awareness, that is the first moon. Okay, so now keep in mind that we transcend the perceiver and object. When the essence of visual awareness perceive the object, the six consciousness perceive the six objects. It's void and clear, no grasping, and leave no trace. So if you study Yogacara, you will understand the mechanism when our six consciousness grasp the six object, and how we generate six consciousness that relate deeper to deeper of the mind. That is seventh consciousness and eighth consciousness. Then you will understand how high the practice is that you can overcome this duality, dual interaction. Okay. Now, when we can transcend the perception aggregate, forgive about this nomenclature of the term, okay? Because sometimes I use this term because it's better explain the condition I will talk about. Sometimes I use it because it's much clearer to use that. So for the third one, we use it to say form, sensation, perception, volition, and consciousness, right? So the third one, the perception, sometimes it will become like a conceptual cognition or perception, okay? Now the volition part, it has another name called mental formation. How you form your mental thought or mental activity, it actually depends on the volition aggregate. So it's also called the mental formation aggregate. Okay, so now the blue color, when you transcend the perception aggregate, then your contemplation, your samadhi power and your contemplation power deepen, that you reach the volition aggregate region. Okay, so when that happens, you will as the, okay, this is the sutra, as the source of arising and perishing is revealed to him, he may have a clear vision of all kinds of being in their 12 categories throughout the 10 directions. Okay, so that means we talk about the 12 categories of being, right, in the past talk. And Buddha said that due to different combinations of karma or tendency or the upper thinking or down the sensation, and it was a different combination to draw us to 12 types of being existence. So now at this point, you clearly see the arising and perishing without attachment. then you will have a clear vision, that see the 12 types of beings and throughout the 10 directions. And although he cannot yet discern the thread of causes that is unique to each individual life, he will be able to see the origin that is common to all lives. What does that mean? Now he knows the fundamental, the origin, original causes that why we will develop into 12 types of being. But his mind is not deep enough, subtle enough to see each causes. Why you become human, why you become animal, why you become ghost. But why we will become 12 types of beings is very clear. There is a fundamental source there that he is very clear about. And the origin will appear to him as a drifting mist. This fundamental source is a drifting mist, shimmering and wandering subtly. And this is a pivotal point to initiate the formation of sense organs. What does that mean? Okay. If you know the mind when it enters into very deep and no attachment at all, but you can still see that your mind is subtly moving. It's like, far away in the mountain in the morning, there are fists, right? And then the fist is moving, shimmering and wandering, but in a very subtle way. Okay, I should give you a picture. But that is the mind here that we're talking about. And that is the original source. Why we will, become beings. This is its driving force. Very subtle floating of the mind. So here, I use the 12 link of dependent origination. Okay, we talked about that earlier. Our fundamental ignorance will drive our 6 entrance and contact with the 6 object, right? And then from the form, the object and faculty, and we have sensation, then we have perception, then we have craving. This craving will enhance the consciousness to grasp the name and form. Okay, so why we have when the origin of the form, the origin of the source that drive the formation of being is actually the consciousness grabs the name and form. Our consciousness, that mist, start flowing, and then once they have a driving force, it grabs the name and form to form our 6 faculty. Okay, and here, when that happens is the parents. When the parents engage in sexual conduct, it's a chance for that consciousness to grasp the name and form. Okay, that's a very crucial step. It could happen to human, an animal, or ghost. It all happen the same way. The same original source that the mind in the very midst, and when it pushed, enhanced, or facilitated by our craving, then it grabs the name and form. And when that happens, depends on which being you are, then it developed the body that correlated to that being. Okay, so now, and when this happened, okay, subjectivity and objectivity develop. Okay, now Now we enter into the zone, the region of volition aggregate. Okay. The sutra goes, if this original shimmering and wandering nature of being start to revert to its original clarity, and once done, his primary karma also gets clear. Just like after stopping all the turbulent waves, the water naturally becomes still. Okay, so that original shimmering and wandering force or mental activity, referring to the consciousness grasps the name and form. Now here we need to do what? We have to revert this mental activity or mental formation. So we revert it, deeper. Okay, again, we are talking about the seventh consciousness right now. And if we really can clarify this mental formation, the volition aggregate, and we were very clear about our primary karma. Where is our primary karma or the fundamental ignorance? Okay. Then when that happened, this is the end of volition aggregate. He then transcends the turbidity of sentient beings. Okay. And when contemplate its source, okay, the source of this volition aggregate, its basis lies in the deep and hidden, deluded thinking. This, I use thinking, it's not really thinking. It's not like the cross thought right now. It's a deluded, deep and hidden deluded mental activity. Okay, I copy from the other book. So that's the source of volition aggregates. We need to, revert to see our primary karma. Then, if we transcend the volition aggregate, we enter into the consciousness aggregate. So we now work on the seventh consciousness, and then if we pass it, then we truly work with the eighth consciousness. Okay, truly try to practice and see the true nature of awareness. Okay, it's not the essence of awareness anymore. It's the nature of awareness. Okay, so in Chinese, 见经, 见看见的见哈, the 精哈, 精华的精 is different from 见性, the nature. 性跟精 is different things. Okay, in Śurangama Sutra. Now, so here, in chapter 4, we talk about what is the turbidity of sentient beings. It's being, we all sentient beings. We talk about helping sentient beings, transcend sentient beings, deliver sentient beings. Do we really know who are the sentient beings and how the sentient beings come into exist? If we don't, and it's just like the empty, your lip service that to the Buddha and Bodhisattva say, oh, I want to deliver sentient beings. But you don't really know who they are and how they become sentient beings, okay? And how you become sentient being. And how can you say that I want to deliver sentient beings? Okay. When we talk about sentient being, we have to know why sentient beings come into exist. Okay, so by night and by day, okay, that's chapter 4. Beings ceaselessly come into being and perish, come and go, life and death, live and die. They always desire to continue to exist in the world indefinitely, yet their karma leads them to continually move from one lane to another, one life to another life. Okay, so what is the karma, the primary karma? So in the stability of sentient beings, their thoughts or desires and their karma entangle with each other, then delusions formulate. Therefore, there is the fourth layer, the stability of sentient beings. Now, if we overcome the violation aggregates, we can transcend this stability of sentient beings. We can deliver all sentient beings. Okay, so now, why sentient beings exist? Because our view, thoughts referring to the very fundamental view about existence, intertwined with our primary karma, mixed together, attached together. So that view, okay, is not the fundamental right views. Okay, the views we developed, it grasp the karma, our primary karma. And there is a sentient being. We all do. My mind, my view about existence, and grasp, attach, or dance with my primary karma in my consciousness, the karma seeds. And so it fabricate into my life, exists here, and so does you. So do you, okay? So here, I have to keep referring back to the previous chapter that Buddha talked about. And actually, I find the beauty of this part that Buddha talked about the 50 demonic state of the 5 aggregate is Buddha perfectly match what he talked about in the previous chapter. The essence of the mind, appearance of mind, and the function of mind all together, and show you why we become who we are right now. And also, draw a clear roadmap that when we practice, what we overcome and what would happen. And all this will happen, actually. The problem is, when that happens, don't attach to it. Don't misinterpret it that you have achieved the final goal. Okay? Again, Buddha said that everyone, when you practice this along the way, this will happen, different kinds of emptiness will happen when you practice, try to overcome the form aggregates. But when that happens, you have wonderful experience of your body and mind, but just pass. Don't attach to it, and don't misinterpret that, oh, this is it. I see my Buddha nature. I'm awakened. Then you fall into the demonic state, and you will not move forward. That's the point. And again, I think the beauty, I spend a lot of time, and I enjoy reading this part, even though I don't understand fully, but I see the beauty of it, like Buddha relate to the previous in the previous chapter, and kind of concluded, and it's a good reminder for all the practitioners, what would happen to you. Okay, so here, this is a very important statement in chapter 2. How it's called physical world, continuation of physical world, continuation of sentient beings, and continuation of karmic retribution. And it related to, I'm not going to repeat it, that you generate void space. You start to perceive, you start to have the concept of voidness, and when your luminous mind is darkened, and it aggregates into forms, 4 elements exists now, false, illusory exists now. Then our physical world starts to continue. And when that form, the 4 elements, combine with our deluded thinking or deluded view, it leads to the appearance of the body. okay, that then sentient being, the deluded thinking and the four elements combined together. So here we talk about, our wrong view, deluded view, combined with the karma, right? And sentient being exist, exist. Then the sentient beings continue to exist. And when that body intertwined with our sixth consciousness, discriminated mind, and then, we have a mental activity, we have karma, we build karma, and then karmic retribution continue. Okay, so now in the past three, the form, the sensation, and perception aggregates. Pretty much we have already transcend the karmic retribution. Now we push up to stop the continuity of the sentient beings, the stability of sentient beings. Now we have to revert our deluded thought or wrong views, and our primary karma. So here, here again, the volition is the origin for our consciousness to grasp the name and form, and so we developed the subjectivity and objectivity, and then go on and the sixth entrance in contact. It's called so this is the map. The 12 link of dependent origination match with the so-called 3 subtle appearance and 6 cross appearance. 这就是12因缘跟3系6出的一个关系。So now I have to start very quick. Now I'm going to talk about, now we're trying to revert, okay, the intertwined of the view, the thought with the karma, and we try to, transcend the so-called stability of sentient beings. Then we will have 10 types of demonic state, 10 types, okay, out of volition aggregates. And it's very deep, and I hope I can, get you some clear idea. May not go to the very detail. Okay, right now, when when practitioners enter into this state of contemplation, actually his mind is already very, very deep and profound. So Buddha say, Ananda, you should know that when the practitioner, after the third aggregate has vanished, acquires right knowledge in samsara, his mind is firmly settled and bright with right mind, okay, right views, and can no more be troubled by the 10 classes of demon. Okay, so the all kinds of demon spirits and ghosts cannot possess you, cannot disturb you anymore. See? And only now can he look exhaustively into the origin of living beings. As the source of his category, for example, we human here. So the source of human becomes apparent to him. He may begin to speculate this original subtle disturbance, the mind movement. Okay. So now, because his mind is so settled, so still and bright, okay, and now he tried to find the origin of living beings. Then he can start to see the so-called, the mist, the shimmering and the wandering, subtle mind movement. Okay, and now the next we are going to talk about the wrong views involve the 7th consciousness. Okay, so this is a quick summary, just in case I did not finish it. Okay, what are the wrong views involved the seventh consciousness? The sutra, this part, describe 54 of these wrong views in 10 types. The 10 types actually are referring to 54 wrong views, which are arranged into 10 groups. Okay, the first 5 of the groups include various erroneous speculations about the origin of beings in the past, while the last 5 groups involve speculation about the future, specifically about what beings may encounter after their death. Okay, so this is most talk about, what happened if I die? And it's the same question. What happened before I was born? Right? You die and you go to next life, right? And you get rebirth to next life. So in between that we talk about is what in the past and what in the future after we die. And further, within each of the group involving speculation about the past, some of the wrong view arise when the practitioner, by means of his spiritual power, look into previous aeons. Okay, at this point, most of the I should say that all of the practitioners have some super knowledge power that can see his own or people's past life. The problem is how far they can see. You see, people will tell you, past life, you are the queens in Egypt. Okay, for example, you're like, oh yeah, I was the queen. How come I'm so bad right now? Okay, so they will tell you in your past life, past 10 lives, in who you are. You are the soldier, you are the general, you are the king, the queen, you woman, you man. They have the power to see the past. First is from this chapter I learned. First, how far they can see and how accurate they can see. Because they might think that they see it, but actually their mind plays some parts. Okay, that's what Buddha talked about in this chapter. That so sometimes people tell you your past, you actually, Shifu always told us, you don't need to go to the fortune teller, to tell you what will happen in this life, and no need to go to the medium or something to find out who you were in your past life. Shifu said that because you were attached to it. Once you attach to it, it becomes firmly grasped. Then it's very hard for you to make change. The past has passed, but you try to recall it, and that affinity or connection play a role in your current life now, which already passed in your past life. So anyway, here, when we involve seventh consciousness, in Yogacara as well, because seventh consciousness is very crucial in attached to our current life. So once you can open it up, you can see your past life. You can see people's past life. Okay, like I say, again, depends on your samadhi power. How far is 20,000 eons or 80,000 eons? Depends on your samadhi power. And the wrong views involve the seventh consciousness also, like the wrong view arise not in association with observation, but simply from logical reasoning. In the previous page, we talk about the wrong view arise because you see people's past life, see your past life. So from what you see in the past life, you make the conclusion and generate wrong view. Here is you make a logical, conclusion Okay, it is not what directly observed by you. And then all this experience involve use of the seventh consciousness, mana consciousness, and not the cognitive activity of the sixth consciousness, since when this practitioner is in samadhi, the aggregate of cognition is no longer present. Okay, this is the diagram I use when I talk about the Yogacara topic. Okay, so from here is an iceberg. Out of the sea level, it's form aggregate. You have your body, tongue, nose, ear, eyes, and then you contact with the taste, smell, sound, color, and material that belongs to the form aggregates. And below the sea level, then you have, we talk about mind. Okay, the mind, the first level of mind is the discrimination of those signals you perceive by the sixth consciousness. Okay, then you have sensation and perception, right? But how does sixth consciousness discriminate? Depends on the seventh and eighth consciousness. It is the, I would say, eighth consciousness is the database, and seventh consciousness is the operational iOS, okay? So here we talk about mana, the seventh consciousness is volition, aggregate. Alaya, the eighth consciousness, is the consciousness aggregates that we will talk about in the next talk, okay? So just give you a map. We are working on the volition aggregate. We are working on the seventh consciousness, mana here. So let's move quickly. The first type, there are two theories that deny causation or origination. As you know, dependent origination is a fundamental doctrine, principle in Buddhism. But now you deny the causation because when you in a deep samadhi and you see something and then you generate discrimination for the ultimate origin. Okay, you're not there yet, but you think it's the origin. It's not yet the origin, not the ultimate origin, but you think it is. So based on that misinterpretation, and you will say, oh, no causation for the origin of life because you cannot see it. All beings in the world throughout the 10 directions come into being of their own accord, independently of any cause. That's very outer path, right? Because his samadhi power only can see, for example, 80,000 aeons. So he see past life, the past lives in 80,000 aeons. And then after that, before 80,000 aeons, he see nothing. So there is a borderline for life to exist, is 80,000 aeons. And then he cannot see why he come to exist. It seems like suddenly he exists. And past the 80,000 aeons, nothing exists. So he make a conclusion, life come into being independently without any cause. Okay, and next is no causation after the ending of life. Same way, for the last 80,000 aeons until the present moment, no being has been reborn into different classes. So that's why some Vedic philosophy or India religions, they will claim why they have a so-called caste system, because the practitioner thinks that I saw you are Brahmin. Your next life also Brahmin. Your past 10 life also Brahmin. And dog, his past life is dog and dog and dog. So the conclusion is, you dog, and then you've been born into the dog and dog again. And so there's no any cause you end your life, because after you die, you become a dog again, you become a human again. Nothing can interfere or change this path. Dog become dog, become dog. Okay. The problem is, I don't know. Sometimes when you developed super knowledge, when you ask those people, sometimes they can see who you are in maybe, okay, in Ming Dynasty, and then later they say, oh, you are the queen in Tang Dynasty, and you ask what happened between the Ming Dynasty and Tang Dynasty. They cannot tell because they don't see it. Okay, so it's very possible that their super knowledge only can see you are a dog, and dog, and dog, and dog. I mean, you're dog. And see you as human. But they did not clearly know every life. So they make this wrong conclusion. And the second type is, again, through very deep, you have to keep in mind, at this time, this practitioner already stopped their form aggregate, sensation aggregate, and perception aggregate. Very deep samadhi right now. And also their mind is void and clear. Now, if they see something, if what happened, they generate discrimination for the ultimate permanence. About the permanence and impermanence is also a very important principle for the Buddhists, right? But then they would generate wrong view about the so-called permanence or ultimate permanence. And what is not permanence? First is the cycling of mind and its perceived object. Okay, so life after life after life. Seems like it's always there, the mind and then how you perceive object. So it seems like this is permanent, okay? And the circulation, the cycling of mind and the object seems permanent. And the second is the essence or the nature of the four elements. So through his contemplation, he observed that no matter I am a human, I'm a dog, or here is different levels, different things that would happen to the practitioner. It's not like you follow first type, and then second type, and third type, okay? This is the second type. He see that I'm a human right now, and my body composed of the four elements. And then my past fourth life, I was a dog. I have dog body, and also four elements. And I was fish, and I was, even ghost. I have different forms of beings. And the four elements never change. So all four elements is permanent, is the ultimate, universal permanence. The third is the nature of the seventh and the mana and the eighth consciousness continue, It's like, you see, I have already stopped my six consciousnesses. I stopped max sensation, I stopped max perception, and there is something. That something continue, life after life. So that, okay, here is like the seventh and eighth consciousness. Just it's permanent. Okay. And then volition aggregate is permanent, because at this time the practitioner cannot overcome the volition aggregate. You see, as a practitioner, if you stuck at certain stage, in that stage, that mind state, just always, every time you practice, you'll go to that, and you cannot transcend, and nothing you can do, and you will see that maybe this is the final. The same for practitioner at this stage, because they cannot transcend that, the mist, the subtle mist, the shimmering and wandering mental activity. It's always, you might always like that. And you think, maybe this is it. This is our mind, the final state of the mind. And I observe this life, past life, and I observe my body, and I transcend that body's form, sensation, and perception, and always get to that state of mind, the aggregate volition, the volition aggregate. So he make a conclusion. The volition aggregate is permanent. Okay, so which is not, right? So this is the wrong view about the permanence. Through the experience, different, 20,000 aeons, on the right, 40,000 aeons, 80,000 aeons, depends on your super knowledge power. Okay, they made a conclusion, And this is wrong views about permanence. And the third type is about the upside down views on permanence and impermanence. Okay, what happened? So you again, it's very deep samadhi, and your mind enter into the state, and you generate discrimination or wrong view about self and others. Okay, at some point, you've lessened the view about yourself, but you still have self and others. That's why the volition aggregates fall into the turbidity of sentient beings, because you still have the concept of sentient beings, right? So you have me and others. Okay, we talk about that in Dharma Sutra as well. So what happened? The first, the cosmic self versus all sentient beings. Okay, you've already very high. Pretty much your mind is become like big self, okay? So when contemplate that the wondrous luminous mind pervasively extend to the 10 directions, and with clarity, he takes it as the cosmic self. So your mind is like in the 10 direction, very clear. So in Chan, we call it big self, and which is unmoved, settled, and bright. Wow, people will think this is nirvana. Okay, it's like everlasting. Every time it's there. It's everlasting, permanent. And all sentient beings, and in my mind, all sentient beings go through birth and death by themselves within my mind. Okay, at that point, because your mind is in 10 direction, pervasive, right? Kind of unify with the whole universe. So every spot, every bubble in the mind, all sentient being, bubble, arise and perish, abide and perish by itself. It's like, in the ocean, bubble. Such others and me. So this me is permanent. And all the sentient beings exist in my mind, just like bubble, arise, perish, abide, perish by itself. They are impermanent. That is the mind state. So when you perceive, your mind is so profound, see, clear, and settle, unmoved, and bright in the 10 directions. So what you perceive is like a bubble. The second in this type is in or not in a declining aeon. So your super knowledge, you can see 80,000 aeons, and from this observation, you found out that there are worlds. pretty much you can see the worlds everywhere throughout the 10 direction. Again, your mind, the unmoved state of mind, you see all the worlds in the 10 direction. And yet, through the observation of these worlds in the past 80,000 aeons, some world decline. It's impermanent. Some worlds not in a decline aeon. They're always there. It's everlasting. Again, that's because the super knowledge power very limited, only limited to 80,000 aeon. But he made conclusion based on the observation during this, what happened in this 80,000 aeon. So he see that in the past 80,000 aeon, the earth never changed, always like that. Okay, but there is a planet somewhere, decline, become dead planet. So that planet is impermanent, and this never changed planet is permanent. Okay. And next in this type is the nature of mind versus birth and death. Okay. The refined, subtle, and hidden aspect of his mind. This violation aggregate is mind state is very subtle and hidden. It's hard to see. Float and swirled about throughout the 10 direction. Yet its nature never changed. And it controlled the death and rebirth of his body. This nature of violation is permanent because he cannot transcend the violation aggregate, right? He found out this very subtle and hidden aspect of mind always play the key how I die and get rebirth. That, in other words, control my mind, the consciousness, grasp which type of name and form, and become which type of being. And he found out this step, this force, this mind is permanent, because from my knowledge, I see so many lives in 10 directions. It always play the same way. And all the life and death out of this violation mind is impermanent. In other words, this force, this crucial origin source to control every being's death and birth is permanent. This source is permanent, which is, for him, is violation aggregate, or this seventh consciousness is permanent. And yet, the outcome, the products of each being's life and death is impermanent. So he born and die, and it's gone, and the violation aggregate is still there, and then it make another formation of life and death. So life and death is impermanent, but this subtle and hidden mind, the control, is permanent. Okay. This is very important, so I talk about more. And the third one, the fourth one is the violation aggregate versus form, perception, and cognition. Okay, so see, because at that stage, the form aggregate, perception aggregate, cognition aggregates already end. But this violation meant the aggregate of mental formation. The violation aggregate never change, cannot stop. So it's everlasting. And the previous three aggregates have already stopped. So it's impermanent. I can stop it. So it shouldn't be permanent. But the practitioner find out I cannot stop violation aggregate. So it got to be permanent. Now the fourth type, okay, it's based on the third, get to the third one, based on the super knowledge, he see the past, right? And he made conclusion from what he observed. Now is the fourth type of deluded theories on what is finite and or what is infinite. Okay, so here, basically, he generates discrimination in different time and space. Usually, and honestly, our existence or any type of changes vary based on the time and space. Okay, so but if he misinterpreted any conditions in different time and space as the data, the information for him to make conclusion, and that is the wrong view. Okay, for example, he found out that present moment in red is infinite because it's keep changing. This sort of change keep continue, never end in this life, and it just continue ongoing. But the problem is the past does not exist right now. Okay, the past is over, and the future is not here yet. So the past and future are finite, and the present moment is infinite. That's the first type about what exists. Okay, and the second is perceptible versus imperceptible. Okay, so at the present moment, I look back 80,000 aeons. I see all sentient beings, different form, different lives. And that's finite. Because I can see, I can count, I can tell you. But beyond that, beyond 80,000 aeons, it's imperceptible. And then the practitioner defined it as infinite. So this conclusion is based on, from the time 80,000 aeons, and beyond that, because I cannot perceive it, so it's infinite. I cannot see the borderline. It's infinite. Okay, and the things I can see the borderline is finite. Next, pervasive awareness versus the nature of awareness. Okay, we talk about that. Okay, he observed that his own awareness is infinite, and that all other people appear within his awareness is finite. Okay, so he is not aware of other people's nature of awareness, neither his own. And therefore, he may conclude that the nature of awareness are merely finite, not infinite, as he supposes his is. Okay, let's come back here. When we only can be aware of, we only can get to the point that we see the essence of awareness. Okay. So when the practitioner get to the state, your awareness expand to in 10 directions, but not the nature of awareness. So the nature of awareness got to be limited somewhere. And you are in my awareness. I aware your body existence, but I cannot see your mind. I cannot see your nature of awareness. In other words, my seventh consciousness cannot see your eighth consciousness. In other words, this practitioner is not there yet. If you really get to the eighth consciousness level, it will be like in Chan school, mind to mind. I can see your mind, you can see my mind. I can see Buddha's mind, Buddha can see my mind. There is no border mind. And you are not the being I am aware of. I'm not seeing your physical body. I'm not seeing your six consciousness and seven consciousness. It's mind to mind, mind direct to mind. The problem is he fall into the attachment to the seven consciousness, so he can only aware pervasively. But all the sentient beings in his awareness is only the being there, but he cannot see the nature of awareness of that being. Okay, and then so he think my awareness can be unlimited. My awareness can be everywhere, but not the nature of awareness, because he doesn't know where it is. And it's not under his awareness, which is awareness for him right now is pervasive. So he think that awareness is infinite and the nature of awareness is finite. Okay. So this is very dangerous for some practitioners, because once your mind is very settled and moved, and you will attach to your awareness, pervasive awareness, you will say that I just be aware of the unlimited space. Some people practice silent elimination this way. Then at some point, you have to transcend. You cannot say, I contemplate my body, I contemplate this environment, and then you say, oh, my awareness is infinite. The problem is you don't know where your nature of awareness is. This is not it. This is not it yet, the final, the true silent illumination. But I know a lot of people feel like, the awareness expand. And that's it. And that's not it. Okay? The fourth, another type is half finite, half infinite. Okay? So I see in the past, okay, things arise and perish through the violation aggregate. Okay, so it's finite. I can see it, I can count it. But for those, if the violation aggregate stop, that type of emptiness that I see no arising and no perishing, and that's infinite. Okay, so the problem is, what is that called violation aggregate stop? That's your imagination. See, violation never stop, right? But if it stop, then there is no arising and perishing. Because things arise and perish because the violation aggregate is, I cannot stop it, it just keep going. But if it stop, then it's infinite. He make this conclusion. I'm sorry, so he can claim half finite, half infinite. Sorry, no. Okay, the fourth type, I only have 10 minutes. Okay, here, immortality, okay? By observing everything in the light of aggregate of mental formation, he forms various conclusions about what he has seen. If someone seeking to learn his method should come to ask him about his theory, he will reply, the teacher, based on his experience, and he will make the wrong conclusion, give the wrong instruction, because he thinks I both live and die, and I exist and I do not exist. I both increase and decrease. So what he says is so confusing that no one can understand what he means. he will say something very conflict, like the Chan teacher, like a koan, say something very upside down or very confusing to you, not based on his experience, okay? He's based on what he see, and then he say, oh, I live it. You say whatever, I can't cover everything. So you cannot say I'm wrong, and I cannot say you are right either. It's very confusion, because he did not get the very ultimate perfect experience. So based on his half wrong, half right experience, he will make half right, half wrong comments, and it's so confusion. Okay, and so, for example, by observing, it is not in anywhere. He will say, whatever you ask him, he say no, 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 because what is not? Because I'm a human, then I'm definitely not a dog. I'm definitely not a ghost, right? So I'm not. So he will keep saying no. And he observed, there is. See, I'm human right now. I have a human character. In the previous one is my human character is different from the dog character, right? So I'm not that dog. So no, I'm not. But the problem is deeper contemplate. The human has some fundamental things that is similar to the dog's fundamental thing and to ghost fundamental thing, which he means volition aggregate, is the same for every being. So he said, yes, yes. He will say yes. No matter what you ask him, he will say yes. Only one word, yes. Okay. And then, and some practitioner was like observing, sometimes it is not. Sometimes it is. So he will say yes and no. Right? Whatever you ask, yes and no. Yes and no. Okay. But anyway, this is one type. Okay. He personally, his experience still not complete. So that's why, based on his observation, he will make this view. The sixth one is about the existence after death. So see, will we exist after we die? Okay. He observed the body. No matter how I get rebirth, I have this body. So he claimed that the body is me. And his awareness is so pervasive, right? Everything's are contained within me. So I possess all forms. Everything in my mind, I possess it. And form is now restored to follow me. You see, he will say, no matter where I go, everything it seems like is my resource. So all forms belongs to me. And then I continue to exist in the constant flow of volition aggregate. So I'm within form. So the form is me, I'm also within the form. That's the, again, out of the his experience, okay? It's not like an interpretation from knowledge, okay? And the next one is from the belief that form continue to exist after death. The most dangerous one is fundamental affliction work on its own, and simultaneously and parallelly, fundamental body work on its own. So unwholesome become unwholesome, by itself. Wholesome, and wholesome by itself is parallel, never cross. So he never understand the affliction is actually body, the same mind. Okay. That wrong view. Now the seventh, I'll go quickly, hopefully. So now he stopped the formation, perception, and sensation, and now only the volition continue, right? But then he found out that after form, sensation, perception stopped to function, and the form has no reason to exist. Why form exist? And when the perception stops, mind has no grasping. And when the sensation stops, there is no connection between form and perception. Usually, the form, we need to sense the form in order to generate perception, right? But when there is no sensation, then you cannot generate perception out of the form without sensation. But the volition continue, keep continue. Then it will. So when the first three aggregates stop, then the volition continue, and you still have the body here, for no reason. It will like grass and wood, just like you will feel that way. And then at this point, the position will conclude, what all this, the form, when the sensation, form, sensation, perception, and volition stop, and also the cessation to exist after his death. That means when you are alive, this four is like you're like grass and wood. After you die, and you also, nothing exists. So he will make a conclusion, because the sensation, this form, sensation, perception cease to exist, to stop functioning, and so there is no form after death. No form, okay. And on the other hand, is neither exists. The sixth is about the form. The eighth is about the existence of the form. The eighth is about non-existence of the form. The eighth is about, neither exist nor non-exist. Okay, so he will, he entertain, with his samadhi, the aggregate of mental formation continue, while the aggregate of form, sensation, perception cease. So he entertained contradictory notion about whether the aggregate exists or do not exist. And then this, it's like, my body exists right now, but my past body already disappeared, does not exist, right? And also, my past, like I was a dog, but dog exists, but now I'm a human. The dog's form does not exist right now. You see the logic? I'm a human. This human shape does not exist in the past. I was a dog. The dog shape does not exist right now. And also, I'm a human right now. See, I'm going to become a heavenly being, but the heavenly beings does not exist right now. When I was dead, I become a heavenly being. That shape exists, then my body won't exist. Human body won't exist. So he is so confused about, what exists. So maybe it's neither existence or non-existence after we die. Okay. Ninth. Okay, give me 2 more minutes. The annihilation is very important. Do not fall into annihilation. Okay. If he generally distorted views on speculative that there is no existence beyond the aggregate of mental formation, so he imagined this volition aggregate is still there. But what if I transcend, anything exists? And here is a non-exist. Okay, because the body will cease to exist, being cease to exist, because beyond desire realms, being cease no exist. Beyond the cessation of suffering, stop to exist. Beyond the highest joy, cease to exist. Beyond the highest equanimity, being cease to exist. Through his contemplation. So he say, no matter what level you are at, after you die, cease to exist, no existence at all. Okay. And how about the 10th? Finally, the last one is, after this is ceased, there is existence. That's called nirvana. Okay. If you think that the volition aggregate stop, then there will be a nirvana. Actually, not yet. You have to transcend your consciousness aggregate. A lot of things to work on. It's not like you stop the volition aggregate, then you enter into nirvana. So, again, in desire heaven, he will be able to transform his future death and rebirth into a future entity, into nirvana, because you're longing for that radiance. When you transcend the desire heaven, basically your mind radiate. Okay, and how about and when you are in the first dhyana, there's no anxiety, right? And you pass the second dhyana, no suffering. The third dhyana, you attain extreme bliss. Your fourth dhyana, and then your suffering and bliss both ceased. Okay, so he thinks that no matter what stages you are at, then if you can stop, obviously volition aggregate is still happening for these levels, right? But when you stop that volitions aggregates at different stages, then you enter into nirvana. So this is 5 types of wrong view about nirvana, because they think basically I cannot stop the volition aggregate, but once it's stopped, nirvana, he cannot see the consciousness aggregate yet. So Buddha's warning, very important. These beings may not adopt these 10 widely wrong views of the dhyana because of their interaction with the volition aggregate, will fall and take a wrong path and get confused about the nature of full awakening, the Bodhi. And it will become dual and confused by this experience, and they may no longer be able to take a proper measure of themselves. And they may be even more confused and claim that they have reached the level of a sage. And it will cause them to fall into the unrelenting health. Okay, conclusion. We talk about form aggregate, sensation aggregate, perception aggregate. We are talking about volition aggregate right now. If we can transcend our 7th aggregate, mana, then we will enter into the next topic, the consciousness aggregate. After we really transcend the consciousness aggregate, we really find a key, to turn all the defiled consciousness into the wisdom, our true nature. Okay. Oh, question. Okay. All right. 快没电了。
法师阿弥陀佛。Michelle Pusa asked if the second moon represents the 7 consciousness and the third moon reflected in the leg represent the 6 consciousness. Does the first moon represent the 8th consciousness?
Yes. Sorry, I just accidentally closed my things. Okay. The first moon is you see that the nature of awareness, but still you still has a concept of awareness, consciousness. The truly awakening from the Śurangama Sutra is finally you see that first moon, but you are not on the first moon yet. The awakening, the true enlightenment or attaining the Buddha nature is you are on the moon. When you are on the moon, the concept of moon disappears. then there is no moon.
Michelle Pusa, if you have any question, you can speak now. Anybody has any questions?
Yes, I hear. Is it enlightenment and also clear awareness is kind of the subjective form? And how you define the objective to the nirvana?
Subjective form. Can you
Yeah.
can you speak in Chinese?
就说有人就说我已经证悟了，对不对？我已经 enlightenment， 那这是不是一个很主观的一个 form 呢？一个主观的看法？那么 nirvana 呢？这个是不是有客观的条件跟客观的看法吗？主客两个在这个很多都是对立的，是吧？
Okay. I kind of know your question, but I have to clarify.
Okay.
Enlightenment.
Well, my key point is that, you know, other people say, well, I'm enlightened. I said, that's self-perception. Right? The self-perception say, I'm enlightened. Okay. And the other guy say, well, you're not enlightened.
First of all,
Well, because I'm not enlightened.
First of all, because I'm not enlightened, okay. But from my master's teaching or his guidance, usually when people get truly enlightened, they won't claim or tell everybody everywhere that I'm enlightened. Basically, you wake up from the dream. You wake up from the dream, but you still can enter into the dream. With your clear mind, awakened mind, this is an analogy, okay? When we are in a dream, we don't think we are in a dream. And so we act, you know, we make friends, drink and talk. But the problem is, if you are aware, once you're aware of your dream, it's in a dream, you awake. You wake up. Right? The problem is for the awakened beings, there is no like dream or not dream. In the dream, they know they enter into people's dream to help them. They know it's a dream, so they won't. The purpose of their helping or deliver sentient being is help them wake up from the dream, not helping resolve the problem in the dream. Okay? It's wake up, help you to wake up, not help you to make more money or have better marriage or have a good relationship with others. It's not. And awakened beings is just like you know, for you from the koan, you will see, oh, finally, he will say, my nose point toward, you know, 鼻子朝下. My nose. He will say something nonsense like, yeah, everybody's nose is point downward. If he will say that thing, and from our masters, usually enlightened people, it's just enlightened. They finally wake up from the dream, but they won't feel like I gained something. Like, I have something more than you.
That is beyond the language.
And yeah, that's like everybody has the same thing because what he see is everybody's mind, everybody's Buddha's mind. And not sentient beings. Like volition is, he see every sentient being like bubble in his wellness, even though it's pervasive awareness. But he does not see people's mind. He does not see the nature of awareness of each sentient beings. That's about enlightenment. And Nirvana the same way. Nirvana is describing the state of enlightenment, and enlightenment describes the state of achievement. But for them, they don't have this enlightenment or nirvana.
Oh, okay. Since Buddha's enter into the nirvana, where Buddha will intervene in this world.
Actually, and Buddha enter into, my understanding, Buddha enter into nirvana is from human's view. He is not. He's his Dharma body is everywhere, and he kind of manifests as a human Buddha in this world, and this human body only can last for example, 80 or 100 years, and when time comes, he for us, he leaves. He left us, enter into nirvana, but actually, no come, no go. It is us, human, think that he comes and go as a human body. It's really, I mean, beyond my ability to explain. When we achieve Buddha mind, see, that's why we need to practice Bodhisattva path. Is you finally see the emptiness nature, or see your Buddha nature. The problem is how you exercise your mind, your true mind. That's through helping.
Yeah, well, very interestingly, okay, I've been studying the Buddhism in past about 40 years, and I can say that, from the Theravada or Mahayana, the three jewels, the scope, the nature is completely different.
Okay, this is a big topic.
I know.
Not here to discuss. It's a big topic, I know. The Mahayana and Hinayana, things we can discuss later. But I think this is I cannot explain it thoroughly and without bias, because I don't understand Theravada that much. Oh, we have to transfer the merit. Hopefully, one day we can have someone to. It's gonna be several talks about it, and without bias. Okay, so you have to equally thoroughly understand both tradition, and really know the highest point taught by Buddha in order to see the common of Hinayana and Mahayana, and based on the differences of two traditions. The most important is the final goal, the ultimate things would be the same, should be the same. Okay, but the practice and the doctrine, you can emphasize differently, but the ultimate should be the same. Okay.